I think it's what makes us human is our ability to tell stories with words. I've always told stories, whether I've told stories as images or as words. I want to tell a story, but it's the closest thing I can get into sharing the human experience, and it's universal. I love when that connection happens. You don't exist without the reader. My name is Wood Shapiro, and I'm a writer. I am dyslexic. The way that it presents itself for me is that I actually can't spell. People that spell very easily really can't understand what it's like not to have that memory. And I hide this from all the editors that I've worked with because I figure that I'll use spell check and I'll use all my tools, and they don't need to know that I didn't know how to spell. I don't ever look at words and see backwards letters, nothing vibrates. It's not that. Something's lost in the output, and I would say dyslexia for me is almost a word blindness. For me, there's 3 or 4 different perfectly good ways to spell maintenance. I don't even know how I would describe to you what it is to look at 3 examples of a word, all misspelled, and say, sure, any one of those works. Just put it in there. Let's move on. I've got a story to tell. I can read fluently. I did enough intervention when I was very young. It was really intense and it went on for years. For me, I entered school and we started to learn words. And the way that I thought you learn words is you remember it as a picture. So dog was kind of this round thing with a long line and then a round thing and then a thing and then a hook. And that's how I kind of faked my way probably through 1st and 2nd grade. It was decided that I needed a lot of help, and I spent a summer in summer school in a room where we had a speed reader. You would sit in a classroom and the lights would go down and it almost looked like an eye test at a doctor's office. It would be a bunch of words, and so you'd sit there, you'd watch the screen, lights would come up, and you'd take a test. And it was really about comprehension. I think the speed reader got me over the anxiety of trying to decode a word. I probably have a huge memory for really quick sight reading words that I probably don't realize I have. I contacted Dr. Guinevere Eden, director of the Center of the Study of Learning at Georgetown University, to see if she could take a look at my brain. She agreed, so I took the train to DC to meet with her and talk about the neural basis of my dyslexia.
The numbers that you see cited for the incidence of dyslexia is somewhere between 5 and 12%. We study adults who have dyslexia, and we observe in our scans what caused their dyslexia and their difficulties in reading. You're trying to establish in your brain, this is a P and it goes with a sun, right? And that's different from a D, which goes with the sun. But your visual system is saying, well, it's just the mirror image, or I just turn it around. Yeah. But it's only through schooling that you learn, no, these are different letters.
No wire mesh implant.
No.
Tissue expander.
No.
Surgical staples, clips, metallic sutures.
Yeah.
The whole field of understanding how reading is organized in the brain has really changed with these non-invasive imaging technology. And what people have learned is that learning to read changes the brain. So it's just quiet on this end as we're setting up the scan. It just takes a couple of button presses to call up the protocol. Our brains are still evolving. It's just that we haven't had reading around for long enough for it to exert an evolutionary pressure on us. We've been reading for 4, maybe 6,000 years. And so what you have to think about is that you are asking your brain to do something it really wasn't designed to do.
That's what you would look like without hair.
The worst photo of me ever taken.
My FMRI scans from Dr. Eden showed activity in the parietal cortex and frontal cortex of my brain. The right hemisphere lit up when reading, and my left hemisphere, responsible for language processing, was underutilized. When I graduated college, I thought I couldn't get a job as a writer professionally. Like, I didn't even think of looking in that way because of the spelling. Once I graduated and started really writing, I had Word. And Word had a spell checker at least to help me. If I didn't have spell check, if I didn't live in this day and age, I probably couldn't be a writer. If I didn't have a red line under a misspelled word, I don't know if I'd see it. So what happens if you're not a great speller is you can take something very advanced, which is a spell check that's a corrector. It's supposed to give you an option, but you've reduced it to a verifier. All it's going to tell you is it's wrong. My spelling's so off, if I'm in a Word document, that it'll actually say no suggestions. And so then I go through a little dance, but I will go and re-engineer it through thesaurus. I'll find an easier word. Well, what's the synonym of maintenance? It actually doesn't have a tremendous pool of words. You know, I've already gone through about 10 clicks to type something. If it goes on a little long and I can't get a suggestion, I still get annoyed when I get something wrong. There's never been a solution for me until I encountered Grammarly. And I didn't know what it would do. And immediately it had a red line. So to me, it looked exactly like everything I've ever used, a corrector. But the second you bring your browser over, it offered a response and it was always correct. It's machine learning, it's deep learning, there is an AI component. It started to guess what I was trying to spell. It could see the way I saw words. It was because the way that the AI in Grammarly works, where they have so many different types of misspellings, they can predict almost what you're about to do. And me having help for spelling, I feel like I'm still playing fair. I'm not cheating. There is a possibility, and at some point you could take a document and you could put it through Grammarly and you could say, make it more formal. You could say, make it more casual. And so could you make it sound like Tolkien? Make it sound like Jane Austen? Give me some Henry James. Are we going to lose our ability to tell the story and be the writer? If that's the case, then I want it to stop. Coming up with the format and the style and the voice when you write, that's where the magic is. That's where you're working. I think that's where you feel alive. I mean, when you write a great sentence, I feel like my day is made. Whether I'm dyslexic or not, I still want to tell a story. I'm so happy I live now. For me, I feel like technology is the end of my dyslexia.